things I hadn't experienced yet. Just the whole idea. Yeah, the rate might be a quarter higher, but that's going to do is get you a bigger tax deduction at the end of the year. So there's different ways to frame.
Right. So can I give you? It's kind of funny that you bring up what you just said, because I just had this conversation. With the other group of LOs that I coached this morning. So are you open for a little bit of coaching?
Oh, heck yeah.
Okay. So we've talked over and over again about about setting expectations. Okay, and being able to frame yourself in a light that makes people recognize your value without you having to use adjectives to describe yourself.
Yeah.
People like stories. People like to be engaged with something that they can connect with. I've always been a big fan of the restaurant and or a taxi cab limo analogy. So when I meet with a client for the first time on the telephone, I'm always very clear with, what my expectations are. I want you to go back to the referral source and say thank you, and I eventually want you to become an advocate of my business. That's really what I'm after, okay? Regardless if you and I work together or not, Bruce, my number one goal is to get both of those two things to happen. So ultimately, all I'm seeking out is a wow and a thank you from you, because if I do that, then I've now leveraged the relationship strong enough in my favor to where I believe you're not going to be as concerned with rates and fees, because I've done an effective job at communicating the why behind the reason to work with me. The reason why you want to work with me is because I see you as a relationship triangle with your referral source and with me, and I want you to become a point in that triangle with somebody else. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So before I talk loans, before I drive, before I did anything, I was abundantly clear with people. Now, in my own mind, I'm also abundantly clear that 20% of the population isn't going to give a rat's behind about what I say. It's just not going to happen. Okay? So I don't care how articulate you are. It's just not going to happen 100% of the time. And I'm guessing that 20% of the time it really works out to be where, no matter how good I am with my presentation, it isn't going to matter to them. So I was always very keen on paying attention to certain things about my dialogue that would raise a red flag to me. So if during that conversation I had said, I want you to go back and say thank you to the referral source, I said, yeah, well, you know what, I'm in the process right now of shopping 4 or 5 other different lenders, so, if that's what you're looking for, then I would go, you know what, you're just not the right client for me. And that's when I would reject the opportunity to work with them. Like, I would literally be okay with saying no to certain people, and then I would follow up with the referral source and say that they were simply driven by rates and fees, and I can't compete on that because my business is more of what you have experienced, which is a higher level of service and commitment to, the end result. You have to understand that most people are going to receive that message that you're going to provide them very well, and 20% aren't. So I don't know if this client that you drove out to see was worth it or not, or if they would have been swayed by your presentation or not. But I think it behooves you to be able to at least have that conversation, to be able to test the waters to find out if they're even worth the road trip. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yep. Well, like I said, this is somebody that I've known. He's a young guy, and he's also a financial analyst, so it was the perfect storm.
There you go. In that respect, you can basically assure yourself that they're going to analyze the numbers to the point where if he's truly only after the fee and the rate, you could have figured that out well before that. And it really comes down to you being completely honest and vulnerable. You know what I mean, Bruce? I want to earn your business, but let's be clear here. You're a very smart and very educated individual. You know the market conditions. I'm not going to sit here and convince you that I'm the best rate in town, but I can convince you that I'm the limo versus the cap in this entire process. And you probably don't really care because your ride in your mind is only a 10-minute ride down the street. Why would you pay for a limo for 20 bucks more when a cab will get you there just fine? My market is totally different. I believe that the home buying process or refinancing process with most people isn't ever going to be smooth, and people tend to mislead that. And so my whole presentation is, I may not be the right one to help you out. I'll try, but I just want to make sure you know that my intentions are to get you to at least say thank you and to possibly be an advocate for me in the future. So, you're more interested in rate. I get that. I don't even have to worry about selling you because we have a history together. And I would have left it at that.
Yep.
Sometimes it's worth it to go into the presentation. Other times it's just better to call a spade and just deal with the reality.
Yep, I agree, and I did. I actually, when I got there, when we started down the conversation, I told them, I said, I'm not a credit union.
Right.
We do only mortgages. They do lots of things, and
Right.
I kind of went down that path. And I said, because of our relationship, I want to let you know right now. If the rate's the only thing, it's okay for you, my friend, to tell me no.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. So you did all the right things, but it still sucks that you didn't get the loan, right?
Yeah. But I also learned that I've got more to learn.
Well, it also means that you've got to realize that the market is full of people that care and don't care. You've got the 60% that you can consider your friends. You've got the 20% that you can consider your social mavens, the people that just shout you from the rooftops, and then you've got the people that just don't care. And those 20%, I was very keen on them because I could tell based on their background, like if they were an engineer, if they were an attorney. Then I could also tell based on their dialogue with me, if after my presentation they still continue to talk about rate, I would simply draw a line in the sand and say, you know what, in all fairness, it doesn't sound like we're going to be a good fit.
Yeah.
Because it's no different than if you called up an attorney and you needed legal help and you're like, well, how much can you, I can't do it for that. Can you do it for this? Or, well, a guy down the street says he'll do it for this. The attorney would look at him and go, well, then go down the street. If you think you're in better hands with them, go.
Right. Yep.
And then they sit on their heels and go, whoa, wait, well, that's not what I was saying.
Right. Well, it was like I say, it was good to see him. He's somebody I've known for a while. I knew his father pretty well as well. So it all worked out worked out fine. It's just like I say, and I've got to realize too that I'm not going to get 100% of the deals that I talk to people about. And my hit ratio is pretty good in terms of taking yes and all that. So I'm okay. I was bummed out for a day or two, but I got over it.
Yeah, the lesson in those is it makes you more aware of how intentional your conversation has to be with other people, and just realize that you want to be in the position to where you can reject them before they reject you.
I like it. Yeah.
I mean, in all fairness, it's kind of like dating. I mean, I hate the rejection. Like, I hate being told no. And so I was always on the hunt for, if I can get you to buy into my premise, then we're all good. But if I sense that you're slightly not there, I'll try one more time, or even maybe one more time. But I quickly learned that if I have a gut feeling, like if you're asking me to drive and meet you at 9 o'clock at night, or if you want me to come to your house and it's the middle of the day, and I started to realize these people are just users. And so I made boundaries in my business to where I meet with my clients on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. I would only do appointments at either 4:30 or 5:30. So 6 appointments a week, which was more than enough. And then if you wanted to come into my office during the week, I'd be okay, during the weekday. But anybody that wanted me to stay after that period of time didn't care about my family. Anybody that wanted me to work on the weekend didn't care about my family. And I began quickly to realize that if I couldn't get them to buy into that premise up front, I was never going to get them to change, and I really had no interest in working with them. But that comes with volume. When you actually have enough loans coming in, you can start being a little bit more particular about the clients you choose to work with that you feel are, the right fit.
Yeah, no, that's where my mind was going as you were describing it. I was like, I can't afford to say no to anybody yet.
not yet, but it makes you realize that you're going to learn more lessons about going to bat and then falling, striking out, because you're going to look at it and go, I hate that feeling. And you're going to be more cognizant, because the more you pay attention to that, the better your presentation is going to get. But I mean, honestly, Bruce, you're going to close 4 or 5 loans this month, or 6. That's a hell of a production. That's a hell of a number, considering that you got into the business how many months ago?
I had my 1-year anniversary 2 weeks ago.
I was not closing 6 loans a month on my own my first year in the business. It took me 4 years.
Well, I don't know if it's going to be consistent, but the other thing I'm happy with now is I've also got 2 that looks like I'll have lined up for January too.
See, that regardless of whether you're going to have 6 next month or not. It's the fact that you've got the business coming in. And so now that you've got this business coming in, I want to ask you some questions about planning for 2017.
Okay.
Have you ever done a business plan? And by that I mean, have you ever just come up with a very simple, generic business plan?
I've never designed a business plan. I've been responsible for business plans through my corporate career, but
Right.
you know, not recently, and not for my own personal businesses.
Okay. Do you think that there's value in them?
Absolutely.
Okay. Do you believe that sometimes business plans can be way too complicated?
Most of them are too complicated.
All right, good. Well, you're on the same page with me. So I'm not shy about telling you guys that I was probably the laziest loan officer that this company's ever seen. And by lazy, that means that I never really wanted to work harder than I needed to in order just to get the volume of business that I wanted. And I didn't want to do things that I didn't like to do.
Right.
I mean, call a spade, right?
Right.
So over the years of crafting this business plan, my first business plan was like 13 pages long, and I wanted to do all these massive things, blah, blah, blah. And, by the end of March, I wasn't doing one of them. It goes into that whole, you lead with the best intentions, but your actions never match.
Right.
And people don't judge you by your intentions, they judge you by your actions. So I quickly began to realize with the implementation of this lead tracker that the lead tracker began to provide me with a lot of data that really was priceless. And so I'm going to give you a little bit of an assignment today, and that's going to be to go back to your lead tracker,
right,
for as long as you've been doing it. And I want you to go back and I want you to separate your leads out based on the pillars, which is the source, not who they came from, but just the pillar. Realtor, personal friend, current client, past client. You know what I'm referring to?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Break them out into the pillars, and then go back and look into the conversion ratio of closed or going to be closing loans compared to dead deals.
Okay.
So I did this earlier this week with a group of LOs, and the one LO's profile stood out the most for me, and he had 4 categories. He had his social, he had his current clients, he had his past clients, and he had his realtors. His realtors gave him 15 leads a month. His past clients gave him 3 leads a month. His current clients gave him 2 to 3 leads a month, and his social gave him 4 leads a month.
Okay.
Which do you think of the 4, realtors, current clients, past clients, and social, gave him the greatest amount of closed loans?
Probably the social group.
No.
No.
Nope. Try again.
Well, it sounds like the realtors gave them the highest volume of referrals, so I guess I would go back to that, but I think that's probably not right either.
It's not. And here's the truth behind it. His current clients, he would get 2 to 3 referrals a month, and he would close 2 out of the 3. His realtors would give him 15 leads a month, but he would only close 2 deals a month out of it. His business plan, his primary business plan agenda was to talk to more agents. And I asked him, I said, based on your conversion ratio of your realtors, 2 out of 15, it sounds like in order to close 2 more deals a month, you'd have to get 15 more leads coming in. I go, that's a lot of leads that you're talking to agents to get and getting a very low ROI. Would you agree?
Yeah.
I said, now let's look at this current client model. I said, you've got 10 loans, you're closing about 8 to 10 loans a month. It looks like your current clients refer you the most lucrative for your effort leads. I go, how does their loan volume stack up to your realtors? He goes, well, they're higher volume loans. So you talk to 3 people, close 2 loans, and those 2 loans add up to more income than you talking to 15 people closing 2 loans. He goes, yeah. I go, so I'd venture to guess that if you were going to try to increase your business, that maybe you could increase the number of referrals that you're getting from your current clients from 2 to 4, and you're only talking to 3 more people a month. Where would you like to spend more time? He goes, well, shit, I want to spend more time with the people I like. I said, well, let's now craft a program for 2017 for Q1 that focuses on being a lot more intentional with your dialogue with your current clients to get more business out of it, seeing as how you seem to get better leads, more money, and have to talk to less people. See, the science behind the way that I do it is your lead tracker is going to explain to you and I what your sweet spot is, like where you excel. What pillar do you attract more business with? Not more leads, but more business. And when we finally, analyze all those numbers, it gives us a chance to go, really, our business plan for this gentleman was, let's start out by working more on your current client relationships and working on that dialogue and working on when to ask and how to ask, first thing. Second thing is your past clients. Your past clients, you have a database of 2,000 people that you're not tapping into, but yet you get two closings a month out of or 2 leads a month out of your past clients. I guarantee you can probably get at least 10 more leads out of your past clients if you just spend some time doing a couple things with, your database mining. I said, you don't have to talk to any more realtors if you don't want to. I'm not saying you should shun away from them, but you should work on maybe just attracting some listing agents that you like. I wouldn't make it a focal point, but if you run across a listing agent you like, you should be aware of it and try to attract them. But I wouldn't make it your primary focus for 17. So the simplicity behind it is the only way you're going to stick to doing something is doing something you like. And if you like it, then your results are going to show. And so your lead tracker produces you the information that doesn't allow you to guess. It tells you specifically, where's Bruce Rice the best at? Is it in his past clients? Is it in his current clients? Is it in his realtors? Is it in his affiliated relationships? Who knows? So what I want you to do is go into your lead tracker for the last 6 months, or however long we've been doing it, or however long you've been tracking. Go back and look at all the data, and the data is not going to be complete, but at least it's a start. And at least it'll give us some indication of what you're really strong in, so that we can formulate a very simple process of increasing each of those pillars the right way by focusing on the one that you're the best at and worrying about the one that you're not as strong at the end.
Yep, I like it. No, see, that's the whole idea. Fish where the fish are.
Well, I mean, fish where the fish are, but if you're not good at fly fishing, stop fishing in rivers.
Exactly.
Exactly. You're like me. I'm going to grab a stick of dynamite, throw it into the water, and let it explode and see what floats to the surface.
Yep.
I'm going to go to Costco and just buy fish that's already filleted and in a package for me.
Yep, that's contrary to the corporate world where they say take your weakest attribute and make it stronger.
And I don't agree with that, because you'll never get somebody. I shouldn't say I disagree. I think that if you're in the sales position, your number one responsibility is to find what works and improve upon that, because that's your strength. And you're never going to swim upstream. You're always eventually going to finally give up and go, why am I even bothering? Because I'm going to have to sacrifice so much more, and all I really want is 2 more deals a month. And I'm not going to chase down another 5 agents to try and get 15 more leads. It's not worth it. So instead, let's focus on the people that already know you, like you, and trust you, at least in this LO's case. I mean, that was the reality of it. So what I want from you is to analyze that stuff, and then when we do this call next week, Friday, I want to be able to have that conversation with you and be able to talk more specifically about this, this business plan.
Perfect. I like it.
Cheryl is at an event that she couldn't make it, and Kat Matthews has resigned from the company, regretfully.
Really?
Yeah, she it wasn't it wasn't at the branch level. She was looking for something a little bit more close to home. It was hard for her to work out of the house and not have an office to go to and not have not have that interaction.
Sure, sure.
So
No, I
I
thought she
mean,
was being, I thought she was being kind of quiet today.
yeah, yeah, she's being extremely quiet. So she left with nothing but high praises for your support and my support over the last several months. And I told her that I would connect with her from time to time just to keep in touch with her and to stay on it. What I wanted to ask you? Are you on Facebook?
Yeah,
I invited you to my band of partners. Did you get that invite?
I accepted it. I'm receiving the
Okay.
messages. Yeah,
Okay, good.
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just for some reason I don't know if I saw you on the roster today. So all right, good deal. But
I'm
yeah,
on
I
that.
mean, essentially that's it. I mean, I want us to spend the next week working on a business plan so that when you hit the ground running in January, you're working in a capacity where you're happy to be there.
Absolutely. No, it makes good sense. And again, a year, almost exactly a year in, it makes sense to do that now. I mean, this time last year, I didn't know whether it was a foot or horseback yet, and I'm starting to feel better anyway.
Good, good. Well, hey, buddy, it's always been a pleasure. I miss hanging out with you and Cheryl and Kat for the last 2 weeks. So
Yeah,
thanks for spending a couple minutes with me today.
I enjoy it all the time.
Awesome, brother. Make it a great afternoon. Have a great weekend. Say hi to
Yeah,
Vicky
you
for
do.
me.
I'll do it. You do the same. Take care.
Thanks, brother. See ya. Bye bye.
Bye bye.